Alright guys, so I don't know, I just like to play around with math, and I was just thinking about like AMC stock, reverse stock split, right? And I always try to find different ways to explain the same concept, right? Because it takes me, perhaps I'm just slow, but it takes me a while to get one concept down and, explain in different ways. And I think, if you needed that explanation and you feel like, oh my god, nobody explained this well, I don't understand this concept, then you might need to, seek out a different explanation. So, okay, so I'm gonna draw these three sections here. You'll find out why in a minute. Alright. So in this video, I just want to kind of explore the percentage ownership of AMC. Okay, before APE was, I'll just abbreviate it, before APE was introduced, right? Was introduced, okay? And then after APE was introduced, okay? And then after the conversion and the split 10 to 1, okay? Now, to understand what I'm trying to do is that, so let's go up with the large number of shares, because that's gonna make math a little bit easier to understand, because otherwise you're gonna be dealing with like 0.0000%. So I would like to kind of make it manageable so that it's like easier to understand. So I'm gonna assume some things that might not be to the level of retail ownership here, okay? So I own 30 million shares. I'm uber rich here. So I own 30 million shares, assuming I'm not adding more during this process. Okay. So 30 million share. How much ownership is that if I own that much? Okay. So let's now I'm gonna go with the number that I'm familiar with. It might be slightly more or less, okay? Now, before it was introduced, the full dilution of AMC was this much, okay? This many shares, all right? And so now it might be a little more or less, but that's the full dilution. The point is that AA was not able to dilute anymore because he was asking for 50 million shares on top, but retail said no, right? So he ran out of the ability to dilute more. So that's why the float is there. So if you do that math right here, percentage ownership, okay, would be 5.8%. Okay, so since they cannot dilute anymore, I own this much. Now I'm owning 5% of this company, right? And so let's find out after APES was introduced. So we know that it's 1-to-1, right? So on the AMC side, so I'm just gonna copy and paste this, right? Because on the AMC side, the float was still the same, right? And so I still own the same amount on AMC side. This float right here. So whoever owned AMC get that much, but then have the ability to sell into the market. I think it was 400 something. It's like 400 million plus, right? He was able to sell into the market on APE to, dilute even more. But for the time being, since I own that much AMC before, I will have this much APE. Okay. So now let's figure out on the APE side. Let me move this up real quick because it's a bit annoying. Yes. All right. So the percent ownership, let me move this down too. So percent ownership for this one is a bit different. So assuming that he sell all of this, okay. Now this is not fully dilute yet, because remember, he had the ability to, when he issued Abe, he issued 4 billion of them, like the ability to fully dilute up to 4 billion shares into this float right here. Okay. So currently, let's just assuming that he sold everything right here to whoever he made the deal with and fully dilute into this, right? So now you have, instead of this as the total amount of share, now you have 900 million, Okay, this is assuming that this number is correct, okay? It might be less, it might be more. Just bear with me here. All right. So with that math, you would only own on the Ape side 3 point. Yeah, I'll just round it off. All right. So that much. Like, since these two are the same company, you could average it down, right? How do you do that? You use that number plus this number right here to get the average, and then divide it by 2. What do you get? You get 4.56%. 0.56%. So what is that? That is less than this, okay? Right? Because before Ape was introduced, you own this much. And then if he fully diluted the shares that he was allowed to sell at this point, not including this, right? If you include this become even lower, right? Assuming that he has not fully diluted you yet. So currently you just own 4.56% of this company before you own a little bit more, okay? So now what does he want? He wants to introduce a conversion. Now I'm going to assume the conversion is going to be 1-to-1, because before it was 1-to-1. So if it's 1-to-1, what you're going to have now is this. We already did the math already, right, on the other side. So remember the 2 shares? So if I did that quickly, I would have, instead of 30 million shares of Ape plus 30 million shares of AMC, if I convert Ape to AMC, then do the 10 stock split, I would end up with 6 million shares of AMC. Okay. Now, of the 6 million shares, now what you have, the float now has become a lot more. So now you're only owning 4.21, which is even lower than it was before. But wait, remember, he had the ability to bring this up to 4 billion shares. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that he has the ability to bring this to 400 million shares. Okay? It's already been written. Now, if you are being fully diluted, which it is coming, with the full dilution now, assuming that you have not added anything since the beginning, what do you have now? You have even less, right? So 6 million shares that you had now. So 6 million share of the new calculation here divided by the fully diluted share. What is that? Look at that. You see that? So now you would be owning only 1%. So, and guess what? All of these shares, who do you think he's going to sell it to? If throughout this journey, he has been doing backdoor selling to the backdoor person, to the people that he's close to. So that's how they get shares to cover for AMC, for whatever, right? So now they don't even have to deliver. That's another thing too. See, when they convert, they don't even have to deliver APE. All they have to do, if they have short on APE, what do? They just convert it back to shorting AMC, right? So why in a hurry of buying this when you know that, you could get it pennies on a dollar soon? Because when he dumped all his shares into the market, hopefully he does, right? If he does, okay, I'll apologize, because at least he's for retail, right? He wants retail to own the float. But by then, it might be too late already, because is it going to be enough? I mean, right? Depends on the share price of this thing. So, yeah, I mean, best of luck to you, whoever's in this. But that's the calculation, that you've been diluted from 5% to possibly fully diluted to 1.5. Now, if you believe in the MOAS, that might not be a problem to you. But yeah, best of luck to you. Alright, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.